Alright, so it's time for a Lambda challenge, or rather in this case, challenges. Because what I've done is I've set up a series of smaller Lambda challenges to help you really understand what the Lambda expressions are, and hopefully you can get through all these challenges. So let's start off with the first challenge. So challenge number 1 is to write the following anonymous class that you can see on screen as the Lambda expression. So in other words, convert that so it's a Lambda expression. So pause the video now and try that out, and I'll see you when you get back. Alright, so let's solve that. So firstly, the runnable class. So this was the class. I'm just going to paste that into the source code now. So that's what we're trying to convert. So how do we convert that to a Lambda expression? Okay, so let's convert that to a Lambda expression. So it's going to be runnable. We'll call this one runnable1 equals parentheses arrow token code block. Then we need to put a semicolon on the end of the runnable line. And then we just take the code that we want executed, which will be exactly the same in this case. We want to paste that directly into the code block. And there's our runnable. And just in case you're wondering, we don't have any arguments, so we have to use empty parentheses. That's why I've used the parentheses there on line 17. The body of the Lambda is the same body of the anonymous class's run method. And since there was more than one statement in the body, we had to use curly braces around it. So does this Lambda map to any of the interfaces in the java.util.function package? Well, actually, no, it doesn't. It doesn't take any arguments and it doesn't return a value. All the interfaces in the java.util.function package either take an argument or arguments or return a value or do both. All right, so let's move on to the next challenge. All right, so challenge number 2. So we're going to write the following method as a Lambda expression. Now don't worry about assigning it to anything at this stage. So pause the video and I'll see you when you come back. Alright, so how do we go about doing that? So we start off with the parameter, so it's S in this case we're going to call it, and it's an arrow token and a code block. And then we just put our code in. So I'm just going to paste the code that was actually there because the idea here is just in creating the expression, not in the actual code itself. So I'm going to put the code in there. And then we finish off with a semicolon. And alternatively, we could have actually been a little bit more verbose and we could have indicated the type here. So in parentheses string S, and done it like that. So we have got an error here about the Lambda expression not expected here, but that's okay. And we'll be looking at that in the next challenge. The main thing was that you figured out how to write that method as a Lambda expression. So here the parameter becomes the Lambda's argument and the body of the every second char method became the Lambda's body. And this code prints out every second character in the string in case you're wondering. And again, in this second scenario where I indicated the type of the argument, I had to use parentheses, where in the first case I just used the S. So does this Lambda map to any of the interfaces in the java.util.function package? In this case, yes, it does. It takes one argument, parameter in other words, and returns a value. So it maps to the function string, string. So to actually get this working, we can do the following. So I can actually put that reference here. So function string, string, and we can call it something. Let's just call it Lambda function is equal to, and that should now fix the errors. And of course, where we've got the parameter type, we can also remove that and just go back to the native type without parentheses. And the type is implied because of the function definition that we've set up on line 27. All right, so that's challenge 2 completed. Let's move on now to the next challenge. All right, challenge number 3. So right now the function that we've just created doesn't do anything. So I'm going to write the code that will execute the function with an argument, as you can see on screen, of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So okay, go ahead and do that. Pause the video now and I'll see you when you get back. All right, so how do we do that? How do we actually execute the function that we've created on line 27? Well, to do that, make a bit of space first so we can see this. We just do lambda function dot apply and whatever string we want. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And if we run that, we should find nothing happens because we haven't indicated there's going to be any output. And if we wanted to actually output that on the screen, we could do a sout like so and run that, and we should now see the output. In this case, 24680. Alright, so let's move on to the next challenge. Alrighty, challenge number 4. So instead of executing this function directly, the one that we've just created, suppose that we want to pass it to a method. So your task is to write a method called everySecondCharacter that accepts the function as a parameter and executes it with the argument 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Now it should return the result of the function. For bonus points, don't hardcode the argument string within the method. Alright, so that's challenge number 4. Go ahead and try that out. Pause the video now and I'll see you when you get back. Alright, so let's go ahead now and write that function. So what we need to do, or write that method, I should say. So we want to write this method called everySecondCharacter. So it's going to be public, and we'll make it a static because we're executing it in our main.java file. And we're going to be calling it from our main static method. So we need to make it a static so we can do that. And it's going to be a string because we're returning the string. It's going to be everySecondCharacter. And the parameter, function, string, comma string, and we'll call that func, abbreviation for function. And then how do we actually return the result? Well, we do return func dot, and it's going to be apply, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So that's it. So you can see we just needed to pass the function to the method. Inside the method, we actually call the apply method with what we want to process, in this case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So that's the first one. The bonus points one, where we wanted to actually pass the argument as a parameter. It's just a matter of passing it as a second parameter. So we'd pass it as a string, source, and instead of hard coding it, we'll then change that to source. So you can see there, if I can type, source. Alright, so that's challenge 4 completed. Let's move now on to challenge 5. So using the bonus version that we just coded, call the method with the Lambda function we created earlier and the string 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, then print the result returned from the method. So that's challenge 5. Go ahead and try that out and pause the video now and I'll see you when you get back. Alright, so let's go ahead now and call the method that we've created with our Lambda function and print out the result. And you can probably figure out that it'll be something like this. So string result equals everySecondCharacter, passing the Lambda function that we've defined already on line 27 right at the top there. And then what we want to print out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And then I can print that out. And if you just printed it out directly like I did on line 38, that would be okay as well. So let's just comment out that first bit of code and let's just run this. And we get our results 24680. Alright, so let's move on to the next challenge. Alright, challenge number 6. So now write a Lambda expression that maps to the java.util.supplier interface. Now this Lambda should return the string I love Java and sign it to a variable called I love Java. So go ahead and try out that challenge number 6. Pause the video now and I'll see you when you get back. Okay, so let's go and try this out to write a Lambda expression that maps to the java.util.supplier interface. So we're going to do supplier and string. And it's going to be I love Java, being the variable name obviously, equals no parameters, so empty parentheses, arrow token, and I love Java, double quotes because it's a string. So that's it. So recall that a supplier produces objects. It doesn't actually accept any arguments, and since the Lambda body here is a single statement, we don't have to include the return keyword because it's implied. But if we wanted to include it for clarity, we could change this slightly to do that. And let's just take a copy of this line first. Copy of that, and I'm going to comment that out so it's still there in the source code, which you should be able to download. So changing this now to actually include the return statement. We need to add a code block to do that. We're doing it all on one line. If we want, we could do return, noting that we need a semicolon there as well, then another closing off the code block, and then a semicolon to finish off the line. And again, when we're using a return statement, we have to use curly braces to open a code block. Then we also have to include the semicolon at the end of the body statement, as well as at the end of the code block to complete the line. All right, so let's now move on to the next challenge, the last one for this video. All right, next challenge, challenge number 7. Now, as with function, the supplier won't do anything until we use it. So use this supplier to assign the string I love Java to a variable called supplier result, and then print that variable to the console. So that's your challenge. Pause the video now, and I'll see you when you get back. All right, so as you saw, the supplier won't do anything until we use it. So let's use this supplier to assign the string I love Java to a variable called supplier result. So we're going to do that. So it's going to be string supplier result is equal to ilovejava.get. That's how we retrieve the value. And to print out supplier result. And just run that to make sure it works. All right, I love Java, so that's it. All right, so let's move on now to the next video, and we've still got some more challenges to complete. So I'll see you in that next video.